Hello and welcome to the very first episode of CI Sports Zone. I'm Christopher Huslik. Joining with me today is my co-host, Thomas Garverick, and we have a very special guest for you today.
We do.
He is the general manager of Clutch Sports Media, Jonathan Michael. How are you guys doing today?
Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for having me on. Really looking forward to being on here. I mean, you guys know me. We all know each other. There's nothing more that we love than talking high school, college football, pro football starting up soon. I mean, we could talk for forever about this. So, I mean, we're excited to be back here doing this every week. And, week one is right upon us, 4 days away.
Yeah, and Thomas, can you kind of, this is the first episode, can you kind of give everyone who's watching, what do we do here at CI Sports Zone?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, Jonathan and Clutch Sports are a great partner for us here at WMBD. And so each week we actually broadcast one of their games on our website, so that way people can see that. So we thought it was a great way to pull Jonathan in. I've met a lot of people in this area. I can safely say that Jonathan Michael is a high school sports junkie. He knows all the teams, he knows the players. And so I'm like, let's bring this guy on and go more in depth with our teams. That is what this show can do. Because obviously with the scope of our Football Friday night shows that Kurt and Patrick do, we can only rip through the highlights. Jonathan is obviously on there, and we have a Twin Cities bureau as well. But this is going to be a space to where we can go even more beyond what we see on Friday nights. We can talk about which teams are really stepping up, the players, what to look for. I'm sure Jonathan is going to be plugged in with recruiting and stuff like that. And so that's going to be a big component of this show is the high school football aspect. We're going to talk about my marching band series that I did last year. We're going to have a top place segment. We're going to talk about Christopher's mascot challenge that he created for this year.
Ooh.
So that'll be a lot of fun. This is just a place for us to really just have fun, talk about local sports, and give our hot takes about college football and the NFL and fantasy football as well. So I know that's a big thing for Christopher and I. So we're excited for you guys to tune in. We're going to do this every single Monday.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. So we're going to get this started real quick with some high school previews. Jonathan.
Oh, yeah, week one, baby.
Oh, boy. We are knee-deep in it.
Jonathan, you you gave us a list of some of the schools you want to look at. So why don't we get into that with the first one with Metamora here.
Yeah, Metamora. They're going to be featured in our WMBD Game of the Week this Friday. You can tune in to watch live at 7:30 on CIProud.com. We'll have pregame coverage starting beforehand. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the Redbirds this season. Again, they have a new head coach. New head coaches don't come around too often in Metamora, right? They've had Pat Ryan, Jerry Grebner, and so many guys that have been around for so long. So it's really an honor or privilege to be there for Nick Dolinsky's debut with the Redbirds at Malone Field. And Dolinsky is a longtime assistant coach, and we talked with him before the season in our Clutch Sports Media football previews. He said that he's going to probably be a mess. I'm an emotional guy, about week one. He said that, and it's going to be a great game. Looking forward to the Redbirds. Ground attack is going to be big for them this year. Jadon Cranford, Northern Illinois commit, going to be huge. Stephen Petrie, Keon Allen, a lot of other guys can really run the rock as well.
So what you're saying is Metamora is going to be running some good football and what I like to call run the ball.
Yes.
Yes, they do. They do. Again, it all starts on the offensive line. Again, guys like Owen Cable and Evan Grove, Riley Blue getting the job done up there. Some few new guys. Again, that's really the beauty of week one is we get to see these guys that were putting in the work over the offseason. Can we now kind of know who some of the returning starters are, who are kind of some of the new guys? And I think there's going to be some younger, maybe sophomores, juniors, that might step up on that offensive line for Metamora against very good Sterling Golden Warriors team.
Yeah.
There's a connection too between the two head coaches, John Schlemmer up at Sterling. I think Nick Dolinsky babysitted either John Schlemmer or John Schlemmer's kids, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's a really good connection between those two coaches. It's going to be a really fun week one.
That's a great week one matchup.
So everybody's a little bit connected here in the Central Illinois matchup is what I'm hearing.
The best regular season matchup I saw last year was definitely Metamora and Dunlap at Dunlap. That was a great game. Both physical teams. So excited to see this Metamora team.
All right. Well, Metamora looks exciting. We are going to roll on now to Peoria High School. Jonathan, what do you got on
Electrifying
on the
offense is the only way to describe this team.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this team on paper is just an absolute wagon. And I'll let you in a little secret here. So each year after the spring sports season ends, I get prepped and going on the fall sports. Okay, I make a huge spreadsheet of who's all coming back, who are the players we need to know, who's all the guys that are all coming back. And Peoria High, in terms of football players, had the most players that I noted down coming back this year. They have quarterback Breon Green. They have running back Tarion Pollard. Both those guys electric. They have Jalen Rayford, Darion Mays out wide. They do have some big lineman back. Jaquarius Green, 4-year starter on the offensive line. He's just a mountain of a man. Also going to play some D-line too. And again, Peoria High, they get a lot of kind of notoriety for their offense. Their defense, though, going to be very good. They returned their entire secondary from last year, which is just massive, especially in a pass-heavy league like the Big 12.
Yeah, so you're giving a lot of hype to both sides of the ball for the Lions there.
I'm very high on Aaron Montgomery's squad. Very high on them.
It's a really good offense. I describe it to some of my buddies back in Ohio, and I'm like, it's like watching the Cincinnati Bengals offense at the high school level because of just how deep and talented they are. I mean, just explosiveness all over the field. They were a blast to watch in the playoffs last year.
So yeah, for those of you that don't know, I played a little bit of college football myself. I was a center. So the biggest important question of all this is I want to know about that O-line.
Yeah.
How are the big dudes? The games are won in those front 10 on the offense and defensive line. So how's that looking?
Yeah, again, the offensive line, again, you got Jaquarius Green. I think they got Kamari Jackson back, another starter for them as well. So they are replacing 3 guys up front. But again, the offensive line is easily the most overlooked part of that Peoria High team. Every time that they've made it deep in the playoffs, it's been because of an O-line. Obviously, they've always had skill guys. They always will. They're Peoria High. But again, they always have a very good offensive line that does not get enough credit for what they do each and every week. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those guys up front and the rest of the Lions.
All right, and then moving on now, we got the Dragons out of Pekin.
A team that Jonathan and I both saw last week in their scrimmage against Richwoods.
Indeed, Thomas, and we saw the first play of the scrimmage for Pekin was, guess what? Brogan Benassi to Dylan Anderson.
Yeah, it's like we've never heard that before.
I know. It was just like old times for Pekin.
Yep.
So, again, for Pekin, I think they're looking at what could be their best year since that magical run they had back in 2022, making it all the way down to the state quarterfinals. You look at those fired up fans. They're going to have plenty to cheer about this year again.
Yep.
You see there's that Benassi to Anderson connection. So much speed that Anderson has. What an athlete. I mean, multiple sports and everything else. Got Ty Jackson, a very good running back as well. So again, a lot of good experience for the Dragons on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, I think, going to be a key for them this year. But if they can, hold some opposing offenses to some, 14, 20 points a game, I think their offense has enough weapons that they can, potentially, win the Mid-Atlantic this year. I think that's well within the realm of possibility for the Dragons and Doug Nutter.
I was really impressed in that scrimmage with their running back depth. I felt like their second and third string running backs came in. I know that their third string running back came in and scored a touchdown in that scrimmage. I was really impressed with the talent that they have behind Ty Jackson, which I think is just going to make this Pekin team even harder to defend.
Yeah, I know Jackson Traylor was one of those guys. I heard his name called. He scored a touchdown, I believe.
Yeah.
But again, running back depth is really a big key, not just for Pekin, but for every team. Running backs, it's 9-week-long season. Some of these guys are getting 20, 25 carries a game. It's not like the NFL where there's all this load management where the best guys are only getting 10, 12 carries a game. Now that may happen, for some teams. But again, these guys are, getting a ton of carries, so you want to keep the guys fresh, especially for a team that appears that they could be playoff bound like Pekin.
And I think Pekin, home field advantage always with that student section. I don't say this lightly. I was very impressed with their student section last year. Those students brought it every
and they
single
showed out
game.
for the week 0 scrimmage,
Yes,
too.
they did.
This doesn't even, counting the schedule. And there were tons of Pekin fans there. So well done to the Fire Pit Nation.
Well.
Jonathan, in your opinion, what is something that if you were to plan against Pekin, what is like something that's like, we got to stop this?
Yeah, again, I think it has to be, don't let them get over your head. All right. If you're playing Pekin, you got to have your safeties have got to be locked in because Anderson will make you pay. Jackson will make you pay. And again, I have fond memories of watching, Pekin's 2022 team, broadcasting all of their playoff games. They went, I think 8-1, 9-0 in the regular season. Nearly upset Lake Zurich in a game right around Thanksgiving. Snow was coming down. I mean, they just had so many vertical threats like Kanye Tyler, maybe a name that some people may remember. And Bo Benassi, again, Brogan's older brother. So again, you let those guys get in the open field and they are gone. So you have got to keep in front of anybody with the ball for Pekin.
Well, and Pekin's really creative on offense, too. They
Yeah.
run the end and rounds, the shovel passes. They do a lot of misdirection pre-snap that throws off a lot of teams. That's why that Dylan Anderson 60-yard touchdown, because he started on one side of the field, comes across, and when you get him with a full head of steam, it's tough to stop him. So I think Pekin's offense is just fun to watch because they can beat you in so many ways, and they just love to mix it up. They keep you on your toes for sure.
Yeah, you guys heard it from Jonathan and Thomas. Pekin's going to be a team to keep your eye on this season. Moving on, next one you wanted to look at, Jonathan, was Normal West. We're going over to the Twin Cities.
Yes, we are. And again, a lot of great football talent in Normal, a lot of great talent across really every sport down in Bloomington, Normal area. But again, the Wildcats bring back a lot this year. It's a team that was really, frankly, banged up a lot last year, but still managed to be very, very good. Again, we talk about guys that were injured but are coming back. Quarterback Drew Mangrum, his maturity just stands out so much. I mean, even last year, before his junior season, I was talking with him, and he just had the maturity of a guy that was a senior in college or even older. So he is going to be a great guy under center for the Wildcats this year. Again, they have running back Cody Mulbauer back. He was one of the few Wildcats that was healthy most of the season. Just electrifying. Saw him run for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns in week 1 last year. Again, he's only just a junior, so he's going to be very good. They got some great wide receivers and DBs, Malik Givens, Efoy Baskins, some guys that I really like watching as well, some big playmakers, and I think Givens had 3 interceptions in their playoff game against Simeon last year, so that was a heck of a way to kind of close out their season. They have their line is a little bit smaller than usual, and it's kind of always been that way at West. But here's the thing: is they are small, but they are physical. They have high IQ, and they're always able to hold their own, even against the best D lines in the Big 12. So again, I really like Normal Community a lot. Keep an eye too on senior linebacker Briar Lieneman, another kind of key captain type player for them. It's going to be a rock for their defense.
Yeah, and I have lots of experience with offensive line. One thing I've learned is while size is important, the most important part of football is knowing what to do.
Yep.
You can really make up for a lot on that offensive line if your footwork is correct, your hand placement is correct, and you just know what you're doing. If I know I just have to beat you 10 yards or 3 yards over and up the field, all I got to do is beat you there and get in your way. A lot of times it's those big, crucial blow-down blocks are fun to watch. It's fun to watch pancakes, but honestly, a smart offensive lineman is just as fun to watch because he makes up for lack of size in just the little things he does.
Yeah, and it's a well-coached team, too. Again, Normal West is just, again, they've always had great coaches, and they've made the playoffs for 14 years. I mean, that's kind of the proof right there. It doesn't matter who the players are, doesn't matter who comes through the program. The coaches are going to coach them up well. And again, Nathan Fincham going in his 8th year, doing a great job down there at West. So looking forward to seeing them this year.
Yeah, I saw West week 1 for for the playoffs last year. Very impressed. They were able to pick up a win. And then Normal West is actually traveling to Peoria Notre Dame. They play at Richwood Stadium. That is WMBD's matchup of the week. That's our Spirit Polls. So make sure you go onto our website and vote for your favorite Spirit of this week. So Peoria Notre Dame, Normal West.
Yeah, and kind of moving on now to the last one you really wanted to look at, Jonathan, this week. We got Tri-Valley kind of still down over there near. So just what are you looking at with them?
Yeah, again, Tri-Valley just a wagon every year in the heart of Central Illinois. I almost said HOIC. Now it's now the HOCI, but still getting used to that. But no, again, I have expecting big things out of Tri-Valley this year. Again, it's a team that hardly ever loses, especially in the regular season, and they have a lot of seniors on this team. I talked with them on the phone about 2 weeks ago. A lot of guys back on the line. They got guys like Kyle Reeser, Samson Masters, which by the way, heck of a football name right there, especially for an offensive lineman.
100%.
Isaiah Alexander. I mean, they have a really good line, and that's especially where it all starts, especially in high school football, and even more so at the small school level. They have some good skill position guys. Tommy Harris, a good running back to watch for them. Also have Grayson Coughlin, Cohen Rabinski going to carry the ball for them. So again, I really like Tri-Valley. They're going to run the football a little bit more this year. Last year, they had Cole Klein, a really good quarterback, dual threat guy who could really pass the ball. But it looks like they're going to run a little bit more this year. Again, we never know what we're going to see until week 1. But yeah, Tri-Valley, I think, is just loading up for another big season in the HOCI.
Yeah, I love when you bring up that teams love to run the ball. Okay, as you guys will learn throughout this podcast, the forward pass should be banned. I'm just kidding. It's not actually, but
Chris is out here living in 1920.
Yeah, he's like, let's just run the ball 50 times a game, and even if we average 3 yards a carry, it's fine.
Chris wants to watch the Decatur Staley's grain film from the 1920s.
I'm a firm believer in trap is the greatest play in all of football. So
I love that one in Madden. 0-1 trap's a great play in Madden.
HB dive.
Too.
Is there anything else with this Tri-Valley team you're really looking forward to, Jonathan?
Yeah, again, I mean, line is just a big thing. It really, again, too, just a playoff experience, right? Again, it's a team that, lost last year in the second round of the playoffs, but they beat a good Central Catholic team. These seniors that are on this team right now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe were freshmen during their state run a few years ago. So they know what it's like to go deep in the playoffs. They know what it takes, and they've seen the seniors above them win the HO, win their conference and go deep in the playoffs and everything. So again, it's just kind of passing the torch, and that knowledge, that drive, that dedication is passed on down from generation to generation and from class to class on at Tri-Valley. So again, I think that's a big thing, and really not just for Tri-Valley, but for some of the other teams that, again, just like, for example, Washington, are just good year in, year out. There's always someone there. They know what the expectations are like. They're familiar with the program. They have great stability at the head coach position. So that sort of stands out to me too about Tri-Valley and why I think they can make a deep run.
If you can't tell that we're ready for the first week of high school football season, then I don't know what to tell you. So we're ready to rock and roll.
We could talk about all this stuff for like all 30, 40 teams in the area
100%.
if we wanted to. I mean, we could talk about each team for 5-10 minutes each. It's crazy. We're so ready. It's the wait is almost over.
Yeah, Jonathan, out of these 5 we just looked over, what is the game you're most forward looking to?
That's a great question, and thankfully I got my kind of schedule pulled up. Obviously, I'll be on the call for Sterling and Metamoros, so I'd definitely be kind of remiss if I didn't say that game. But a few I have my eye on. Muhammad Seymour at Morton should be a good one.
That'll be a really good game.
Yeah.
Muhammad Seymour, a big school in Central Illinois. That's going to be a really fun game.
Definitely.
For sure.
Always a good non-conference test for the Pirates. I'm excited to see. I think it's going to be a good kind of litmus test game for the Bulldogs. I think it's one that they can win. Look another where, Normal West P&D, I think is a great game.
Yep.
Going to be a huge win for whoever wins it. Just kind of, build those wins towards the playoffs. U-High Manual, another game. And 2 local teams I got, my eyes on as well. Going to be a lot of athletes on the field in that game as well.
I saw U-High in the state semifinal game against Mount Zion down in Decatur. That was a great semifinal matchup.
Yeah. U-High, again, very kind of a new look squad this year. Do have some returning guys, but really looking forward to seeing U-High, and also Knoxville, Elmwood, Brimfield. It's kind of my wild card game of the week's really small school game, but looking forward to see what Todd Hollis and the Trojans can do this year.
Well, Jonathan, we really appreciate you joining us on the show. You just,
appreciate
just
you having me on.
add that depth of knowledge that kind of pushes the show over the edge. So,
you don't need to butter my biscuit too much, but
we look forward to seeing you next week.
And again, we're going to have their game with Metamora streamed on our website, ciproud.com. And then Jonathan will also be making an appearance on Game Day Live Overtime at 11 o'clock with Kurt and Patrick to break down some games around the area. So, Jonathan, thanks for being here with us all season, and it's going to be a good time.
Moving on now, guys. Thomas, you've been kind of busy the last couple of months looking into a sport that's going on that maybe many people might look over. Can you tell everyone at home what you've been working on?
Sure. So last year when we launched Game Day Live, our 5:30 programming, we really wanted to aim to reach a new type of audience, right? We wanted to talk about the X's and O's of the players and the athletes, getting you geared up for a high school football Friday night. But as a former high school student myself, obviously since I graduated high school and went off to college, I recognize that a football Friday night is more than just about the football team, right? It's about the cheerleaders. It's about the marching band. It's about the people who run the concession stand. And so last year I decided to do a new series at the station doing a marching band of the week. So last year I did 9 marching bands in our area, and I was so determined to do 9 new ones this year, and I've achieved that. So starting this week on Friday will be our first marching band of the week. It's El Paso Gridley. I'm so excited because you know what, Christopher, I'll tell you, these band students are uber talented. They love what they do, and they love that they're getting spotlighted. And so it's an honor for me to be able to be a part of that. And so I'm really excited for the season. So without further ado, we have a little bit of a preview of the sights and sounds of this year's marching band.
There's deep-rooted tradition of excellence here at the high school and in the community.
The band is incredibly excited to show you what they've been working on the last 2.5 weeks.
I've made some of my best friends I've met in band because of my section.
My personal goal is to be here for a long time. My dream is to be a 512 band director who gets to die in their job.
I definitely love being out here with all my friends, making good memories, and like just having a grand time, especially during championship.
I am glad that there's momentum. I'm glad that they're keeping up with what our directors have wanted.
We're changing a lot of things that has been really positive for the band, just keeping in mind the culture of the band and traditions, but also changing our own things and making it more fun for the students and their involvement in it.
Welcome to Lewistown High School Marching Band. There was an opening here and they were struggling to find someone to take the position. And I'm also a minister in town part-time. And so I took this on as a second job to kind of make sure the music program didn't disappear.
1, 2, ready, go!
It's one of our larger groups that we've had in the past couple years. I'm just really excited to see where the season will lead us.
The ability to get everything done with the time that we have. It's really impressive in my eyes. Even since I was a freshman, it feels like time keeps getting shorter and shorter.
It's a good time.
Wow, Thomas, what a preview. That's got me pumped.
Yeah, doesn't it gives me chills watching it, just because it is by far the best thing that I get to do at the station. Obviously, I love my job as an evening news anchor, but it is so cool getting to be at these communities, getting to know these students, and these students, great interviewers. They have a blast with it, and they really appreciate it. And so I just want to say a quick thank you to all the band directors and the students who make this series possible. Because if you don't invite us to come there, then this doesn't happen. So thank you so much. And a quick shout out to Scott, our promotions manager, and then Dennis, one of our videographers. They shoot a lot of that video. And so obviously these stories cannot be told the way that they need to without somebody who can capture those moments. And so just a big shout out to Scott and Dennis. They are really important in this operation of getting it done. And so I'm really grateful that, we kind of cast a vision for what the series looks like and we make it happen. So it starts this Friday, 5:30, August 29th, El Paso Gridley. You are week 1.
Yeah, and as you were saying, we focus a lot on football, basketball, all that, but man, some things just aren't the same without a nice band, and Friday night football is one of them.
100%.
You get the band playing after a touchdown. There's not a greater feeling than after the game. If it's a tradition at your school, it was at mine. We play the alma mater on, the band will play it, and everyone gets together. So it just adds that extra little layer to what is already an amazing Friday night lights experience.
Right. In Central Illinois, marching band is a really big thing. Students are all about this. They go to state competitions at the end of the year. They do, local competitions. It's a big deal. And so I've really felt that in the community. And so it's been an honor, truly, to get to witness just the work ethic that these kids have, the amount of preparation and work that goes into putting together these pieces, because it's like you have bands of 30, 40, and then you have some bands like Metamora who are over 100 students. So it's really impressive to see, and we're excited to do it each week for 9 weeks this year.
Yeah, and kind of pivoting now, Thomas, yesterday was kind of an eventful day here at the newsroom for we got down and did our WMBD fantasy football draft. And
we did.
I'm going to pull up you and I's teams right here.
Yeah.
My team's right there on the left. Thomas, you're over there on the right.
Sure.
My team is the best there is. That's just how it is. We're going to win. How'd you feel after the draft?
Yeah, I felt good, and just so that way our viewers know, this sports show is a good blend of, we're going to talk a lot about high school, but we also recognize, me and Christopher, we both love sports. So my background before actually becoming an evening news anchor was I was a sports reporter in college. I was actually our sports director for our PBS station on campus. And so I originally thought when I graduated that I would get a job in sports reporting and, work at a TV station in sports. COVID changed that. And so I've pivoted. Now I obviously get to do a lot of sports stuff with our sports department, but something that I've always been really passionate about too is just fantasy football. I've been playing since I remember, since I was like 10 years old. My first ever draft, I had the number 1 overall pick and I drafted LaDainian Tomlinson. And so for me, people are like, oh, you're crazy for being in so many leagues. But I tell people the beauty about fantasy football is that it brings people together. It's some fun, friendly competition, and it helps me stay connected with friends from college, from high school, and it's just an easy way to just say, hey, I'm going to beat you in fantasy in week 1. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about fantasy week in and week out. If some of you haven't had your draft, we're going to talk about some guys maybe to keep an eye on. But yeah, here's our drafts.
And like Thomas was saying, we are no fantasy experts by any stretch of the imagination.
We'll give you advice. I'm confident, and I believe that the advice that I can give can help you win your league. I'm that confident in myself.
So kind of rolling in, I kind of took the liberty to go through and list some of my biggest sleepers, Thomas.
Let's talk about our teams really quickly, and then let's get into that.
So who are you? Who's your biggest hopeful this year?
Yeah, so obviously this league is 1 quarterback, 2 flex, so it's not a 2 quarterback league. So the emphasis wasn't necessarily on quarterbacks early. Now, the first pick of the draft was Josh Allen. Don't know if that was a great pick per se, but I had pick 6. And so I really wanted CeeDee Lamb. He's somebody I don't have a lot of roster exposure of. So I decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and take CeeDee, take him at 6, and then build my team accordingly. And so I just kind of followed best available, ended up with Drake London at 15. Don't have him in many leagues. One of my favorite picks of the draft was definitely Chase Brown. I am a huge Chase Brown believer this year. He was awesome, a University of Illinois grad. He was great in fantasy last year. He broke out. I think he's got top 3 fantasy football running back upside in that Bengals offense. Because remember, the Bengals have one of the best, if not the best, fantasy football offense with Burrow and Chase and Higgins and Chase Brown. And so love Chase Brown. I think he's going to be awesome. 2 of my other favorite guys, I'm born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. My bias aside, I love TreVeyon Henderson for the Patriots. He has had an awesome preseason. If you can walk away with him in your draft, I know that his ADP has really skyrocketed over the summer. I'm seeing people having to draft him in the 3rd round. I was lucky enough to get him, I believe, in either round 4 or round 5. Or actually it was round 5. So I felt really good about that. My 2025 fantasy football ride or die is Emeka Egbuka. We talked about this in the newsroom a little bit. I know that you were really upset when I picked him. Absolutely love him. I love his situation in Tampa. Chris Godwin is hurt. Jalen McMillan had that unfortunate injury in the preseason. I think Emeka Egbuka is easily going to finish inside of the top 15 for fantasy football receivers. He's going to outperform his ADP. We're going to be talking about him next year as a 3rd or 4th round pick, at least, if not higher. So love him. Baker Mayfield has said he has come in and he is like a 5-year veteran out there. I think that the volume is going to be there right out of the gate. It's going to be him and Mike Evans and Bucky Irving in that offense. Give me all of the Emeka Egbuka that I can get.
Yeah, I started off my draft. I was number 3, and like you said, Josh Allen went first, and I had a tough choice because I knew I wanted a running back, but I trust the Lions' offensive line a lot. Yep. So I had to go with Jahmyr Gibbs, 1st overall pick.
Never a bad pick with Jahmyr Gibbs for sure.
And then when it was round 2 or 3, it was later on, maybe 3 or 4, I think. George Kittle was still available. I had to pick him up. He's rated as the best tight end in the NFL right now. As a Kansas City Chief fan, I think that's crazy. We all know it's Travis Kelce, but hey. So I ended up getting him too. And then my biggest ride or die right now, I took a chance here. I drafted him a little earlier than I probably should have. I grabbed Ricky Pearsall.
Like Ricky Pearsall.
He's going to be on my. He's on a little teaser to my sleepers. He's on there. With all the injuries the 49ers have every year, I think he's going to have to be that guy. Him and George Kittle. That's why I wanted them both.
Yep.
So and then I guess I kind of teased to it. We can kind of slide right into my my sleepers as we get towards the end of this episode here, Thomas. Tight end, I drafted him, Brenton Strange.
Yep, really like that pick. I love your entire bench.
With Evan Ingram being taken out, he's gonna probably get a lot of targets.
Yep, their GM mentioned at the pre-draft process, he said that he thinks that Brenton Strange will have a sizable role in this offense. I think with Liam Cohen coming in from Tampa Bay, Kate Otten was always viable in fantasy football, and I think Strange could easily be the third target in that offense behind Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas. Obviously, Brian Thomas is going to be the number one target on that
and then
offense.
I'm just gonna. That was the big one. I'm gonna kind of brush through these other ones real quick. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. Sorry,
The love
running
for
back
him has
from
been
Washington.
just off the hook. People have been really engagement farming. I think he's a good player. I think I've seen him go a little bit too high. And so if you can walk out with him as your RB3, RB4, I'm seeing people drafting him as like their RB2. And I'm like, this is a little too crazy for me. So, but I have him on a lot of my dynasty teams. I'm really happy. And I think he's going to have a role for sure from day one on the Commanders.
Yeah, and then we have that was kind of my sleepers right there. I also have put Kyle Pitts in there. He had a rough couple last years. I think he's going to have a pretty decent season. So kind of as we near the end, we do have one announcement I'd like to make. I have been working pretty hard these last couple of weeks on our WMBD mascot challenge.
Yeah,
Just
look
a
at
little,
that.
it's
That
a
looks so
little
good, man.
fun, friendly competition we're going to have on all of our social medias. And we're going to vote on high school mascots and what people like. We gathered 36 high school football teams from the area. It was based off football teams. We ranked them by size.
Yep.
So the largest school will be the 1 seed, the lowest school by population off IHSA's website. And just kind of a fun little competition and we're going to post each week. We're going to get the bracket up here in the next couple of days, get it official, and voting will start next week. I've been really looking forward to this. I've been working hard trying to get logos, get a hold of athletic directors. So I'm very excited for this, and just keep an eye out.
You have put in so much work for this. I thought when you presented it to me, it was a fantastic idea. It's going to be awesome. We're going to run this in our 5:30 show every day, and then I know that Kurt and Patrick would love to run that in their late shows as well. And this is just an opportunity for schools to get involved. And it goes back to this whole theme for us as a station is we want football season to be a blast here in Central Illinois. We want to interact with our communities. We want this to turn into a thing where schools are having pep rallies and getting their kids fired up about this and voting. And because that's what it's all about. Football season is the best time of the year. I love the fall because of the weather, but because of football season, and I just hope this weekend, my birthday is this Saturday, me and Kurt Pegler share a birthday, Ohio State, Texas. I really hope that the Buckeyes don't break my heart on my birthday, but we'll see. But this is going to be awesome.
Well, Thomas, this was we had a lot of fun. This is CI Sports Zone, as we'll be back each Monday. What do you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah,
Thomas?
Monday we're going to be live here on the WMBD Plus app. You can download it via Roku or Fire Stick. Live at 2:30. It will rerun on the app on 6:30. We're also going to post it on our website, ciproud.com. And then we are working on posting a little snippet of each clip during the week on our social media channels. So be a part of this. If you have questions, concerns, if you want to have topics for us to talk about, whether it's about college football, if it's a bit fantasy related, if you want us to talk about that, feel free. Shoot us an email. My email is t.garverick, G-A-R-V as in Victor, E-R-I-C-K, at WMBD.com. We want to hear from you. We want this to be a super lighthearted, fun sports show. And so we are just so excited to bring this to you guys each and every single week.
See you guys next week.